What's up everyone, welcome to the RE Visuals YouTube channel. So today I'm gonna finally be upgrading my personal gaming, editing, and streaming rig, and just so you guys know, it's gonna be a lot different than it used to be in terms of looks and in features. But do you know what's not different? The fact that you can get super low prices on Windows 10 and 11 licenses using today's sponsor, URCDKey. Are you tired of that annoying Windows activation watermark on your desktop? VIP URCDKey has you covered with fully licensed codes to activate your favorite games and software. Purchasing your key is super easy. All you have to do is click on the item that you want, click buy to add it to your cart. Once in your cart, you can now enter my promo code RAV20. After adding the promo code, you'll see your savings pop up, and you can then purchase your product with your chosen payment method. You'll now have a fully licensed version of Windows 10 with no watermark. Check the links in the description to start saving now. Okay, without any further ado, let's get straight into the parts that I'll be using in this personal rig update today. Starting with my CPU, I'll be utilizing my Ryzen 9 3950X that I had in my previous build already. And now this isn't the best processor out there for gaming by any means still, but this gets the job done with 16 cores and 32 threads. It's a great all-around processor for gaming and productivity still, and I think it'll do just fine. So that leads me into the motherboard that we're gonna be using, and since I'm still sticking with Ryzen, I'm going to stick with my motherboard, and it is the ASRock X570 Tai Chi motherboard that I had in my previous build as well. And now this board was overkill for me a couple of years ago when I first bought it, and it still is, but it has so many features on it. I'll finally be able to go ahead and utilize the PCIe Gen 4 because Kingston actually sent me their Fury Renegade PCIe SSD that's Gen 4, and they also sent me a kit of 64 gigs of their Kingston Renegade Fury RGB RAM. So special shout out to those guys because they sent both these components over to me to make this build happen. They did not sponsor this video, just so you guys know. They just sent these over to me so I could use them and tell them what I thought. And I figured I'd just give them a little quick shout out because, I mean, you don't always have to get paid to, you know, shout out a company you like, right? It's like people only do things if they get paid. And that's just really sad. So like I said, because I have this SSD, I'll finally be able to be taking advantage of that PCIe Gen 4 speed. So hopefully editing in Premiere Pro will be just that much better. And since we're talking about storage right now, I will still be using a bunch of my old storage solutions that I had in my previous build, including a couple of Gen 3 Nvme SSDs and then a couple of spinning drives as well for mass storage. So now we also have to keep that 3950X cool, right? So the CPU cooler I'm going to be using for this build is the Corsair H150i Elite Capellix CPU cooler. And yeah, I figured this thing would be a really cool addition to the build because it'll definitely cool that 3950X down while also providing that really cool looking Capellix lighting, RGB lighting that Corsair has now that I'm really a big fan of. So I'm really excited to see that. And to go with this CPU cooler, I also added a couple of packs of Corsair ML120 Pro fans right here. I have 2 packs of these right here just to add some more RGB lighting and flare to the case we're going to be using because there's a lot of space in this case. And that brings me to the next thing, the case. So for this build, we're going to be using, no, not the Lian Li 011 Dynamic, but pretty freaking close. This is actually called the Metallic Gear Neo Cube in their white and black color. So now I honestly chose this case because number one, the looks. It has a massive amount of tempered glass on it and it will really show the components off inside this case. And it basically makes your computer more of a showpiece than just a computer build, and that's what I wanted this time around. Speaking of showpieces, that brings me to the graphics card. I finally went all out, you guys, and bought one of the highest end cards out there right now currently, and that is the Geforce Rtx 3080Ti. So I went through a ton of searching, you guys. I waited on, you know, a YouTube channel, like looking for drops for a constant, you know, for a long time. And I finally found one at a good price, just over MSRP, so I was able to snag one of these guys up. And yeah, I can honestly say it's probably the most expensive graphics card I've ever bought, but I'm excited to use it because I'm an avid gamer at 1440p and I really want to drive those high frame rates. And lastly, I will be recycling my Corsair RM850X fully modular power supply to make this beast of a computer run. And now I'll also be adding some Lian Li RGB cable extensions to really make this build pop since it's so wide open and everybody can see it so much. All right guys, now with the parts out of the way, let's finally get to the fun part. let's build this sucker. All right, now that we have some more space and you guys can see everything, let's get this build started. But quick disclaimer, I'm not gonna make this a complete like step-by-step how-to guide of how to build a computer. I've done that before in the past, and if you guys wanna see that video, go ahead and click up here. I'll link it for you guys so you guys can know exactly what I'm doing. But for this, I'm just gonna kind of go through it a little bit. So if you guys have any knowledge in building computers, you'll probably still be able to follow it. So basically what I like to do first when I start a build is go ahead and take the motherboard out, throw it on its motherboard box, and then we can get the components that go into the motherboard on first. So the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna take our Ryzen 9 3080TX and we're gonna go ahead and insert that into its socket. So really all you gotta do, lift up the socket arm right there. And then you can notice that there is on the processor and on the socket here, there's a little triangle right there. On the socket, it even denotes it right there, or indicates it on the motherboard. And then there is a little triangle, little golden triangle right here on the processor, if you guys can see that. So you just line those two things up, make sure that you very gently set that into the socket, let it drop right in like that. I like to do a little wiggle just to make sure it's in there. Shouldn't have to do any force. Put the lever down and bada bing, bada boom, your processor is in. Intel's a little bit different, but this is an AMD build, so you know what I mean. So next we're gonna go ahead and install our memory or RAM. So we're gonna throw them in our DIMM slots right here on our motherboard. So every motherboard, some of them are very similar. Usually it's gonna go ahead and be, especially on AMD motherboards right now, on AM4 motherboards, it's gonna be the second and fourth slot if you're using two DIMMs. But check your motherboard manual, it'll tell you what you actually should be using. So I already know what I should be using. If I'm using two DIMMs, it's the second and fourth slot, so that's what we're gonna do. With DDR4 RAM, there's always a notch right here. All you gotta do is kind of line that notch up with the line on the DIMM slot right here. So I know the smaller part goes here, larger part goes there. You can see there's a smaller part and a larger part. So flip it like this, go ahead and drop that guy in there. And you need to use a little bit of force, guys. Not a lot, just a little bit. Boom. And when it clicks in like that, you're good to go. Same thing with the other one. Go ahead and grab it, throw the orientation the way it should be, and drop it down and press down. Let it click, and you're good to go. And I gotta say, this Fury RAM looks really, really awesome. I actually really like it with this the color scheme of the board. It's looking good. All right, and next we're gonna go ahead and install our Nvme SSDs, and in this build, we're gonna be installing 3 of them. I actually have this particular motherboard. It has the ability to do Gen 4 speeds on any one of these slots. So I'm actually it doesn't really matter which one I put it in. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the new Kingston Fury one right here into the third slot right there. And hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that speed. I'll report back on that. If it's not actually working, I'll switch the order, but it shouldn't matter. These two right here actually get screwed down with the little armor plate right here. This is the only one right here that actually needs a screw. So I'm gonna go ahead and screw that down, and the SSDs are in. All right, let's go ahead and throw our motherboard assembly that we just did inside the case here. And now normally you would have to worry about your IO shield right here, but my motherboard already comes pre-installed, so that's really nice. So let's go ahead and throw it on here. It looks like the standoffs are standard. So we got 3, 6, 9 right there. We should be good. Let's go ahead and throw it right where it should be, which is right in there. Make sure all the holes line up. You want to make sure you don't have an extra one or anything. So there's a post in the middle, and as long as that lines up right there at that middle hole, we should be good. All right, so welcome to day 2 of this build because yesterday I got to a certain point and then Alex needed my help with the baby, so we had to go, I had to do daddy duties. So, if you guys are parents, you know how it is. Anyway, getting back into this, I did a little bit of wire management off camera. It's not like perfect or anything, but I just wired up a bunch of the fans into the fan hubs because my God, you guys, if you have this many fans, it's gonna take you a while to get it all done. Honestly, these days building computers, it's not even, what takes me the longest is just putting RGB fans in the case. It's literally it, but hey, you need the RGB lighting to make your case look cool. Anyway, to power all this stuff, let's go ahead and put our power supply in. So like I said, we're gonna be using our RM850X from Corsair. It's a great power supply, gold rated and everything like that, so it's pretty awesome. I did great in my last build, so I'm just gonna use this again. And so this case right here actually uses a different mounting system, so it actually mounts it sideways like this instead of the usual, like this guy. So I'm gonna put the fan this way, if you guys can see that, because the side of the case that I put on actually has vents for the fan, so it'll actually be able to pull in air from that side. So that's what I'm gonna do that for. So let's go ahead and grab this and put it right here. It has a little black riser right here, so it keeps it from mashing any of the cables. So all we got to do is put this guy right here, and if you guys take a look at the top-down camera angle, we'll go ahead and take a couple of screws, put it right there, get those things just quickly started, if I can actually do it and not be an idiot. Here we go. There's one. Okay, get that put in right there. And bam. So yeah, this is pretty much installing a power supply, you guys. That's all it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put this power supply in. I'm gonna go ahead and wire everything up because again, you guys don't need to see that crap. And then we'll continue from there. Okay guys, so now on to the most fun part, and that is installing our graphics card. And for me personally, installing my sound card. And now I actually still use the Sound Blaster AE5 Plus sound card with integrated DAC and everything in it. I think it makes my audio sound amazing, so I actually want to keep using this thing. So I'm going to keep it in my build. The next step is to go ahead and put in our beautiful Gigabyte RTX 3080Ti right here. You can see it looks like it should be like a triple slot card. It's quite a chonky boy, but it actually takes up 2 slots back here. So let's go ahead and remove our little protector right here from the slot. And then go ahead and get her slotted in. So it should only be these 2 right here, and that'll be one of the last things we do here. So let me go ahead and make sure it's in the right slot before we do that. Okay, get it slotted and press down, and that's it. And last thing, let's go ahead and throw our Sound Blaster AE5 Plus in here. Boom, let's get that slotted in. So that is now slotted in our motherboard as well. Okay, so we got everything slotted and we have everything connected. We're all good to go. All the connections are where they should be. Okay guys, so everything's finished and now we are ready for our first test boot. This thing is looking nuts. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see, flip our power on right there. Don't forget to do that, you guys. Okay, good. We got some lights on the motherboard and here we go. That is a great sign. Okay, everything's lighting up. Fans spinning, yep, fans are spinning, that's good. And so far, yep, looks like on the monitor we got no signal. So this might just be the monitor. I might have to switch the input. It may not be picking up the input. Oh, there it is, just kidding. There's our motherboard splash screen. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is leave you guys with a quick build montage. Well, not build montage. I'm gonna leave you with a cool montage of all the really cool RGB lights and everything and how it looks. And then I'm gonna leave you guys with the benchmark numbers for what I run with the 3950X and the RTX 3080Ti. So, as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you guys can see future content like this, because I got a lot of computers to build on this channel. So, I hope you guys will be here with me. So anyway, enjoy the montage and the benchmarks.